Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dan with Senior Ministry E-Bike Nation. We're on video number 2 here. Probably either 4 or 5. I'm not sure yet that I'm going to do. Probably 4. So, yeah, as I mentioned on part 1, I wanted to talk about safety on e-bikes and on bike trails and riding on the road. So let's give it a go. First of all, we'll talk about the bike trail in general, as far as courtesy to others, what the laws are here. In most states are pretty much the same anymore. So yeah, let's talk about that. Get across the intersection here first. So we're going to flip the camera around and look at the trail as I'm talking about it. So yeah, if you got any comments about road riding or trail riding, put them down in the comment section. But let me put you switch around back on the trail. Okay, let's talk about bike trails and what you can do, what you can't do, what the state law says you can do. First of all, and I'm in here in Ohio, and I'm sure it's on all bike trails across the country. These are called rail trails. The railroads used to use these in way back, so they've pretty much all been converted into rail trails. And first of all, on a e-bike, it's typically got to be a class 1. Sometimes a class 2, it all depends on if it's got a throttle or not. And what that means, let me see if I can navigate, get across this intersection here in a minute. Got a lot of traffic right now. Nice enough to let me through. I'd have been there a little while by the looks of it. Yeah, this a class 1 bike means that if it's got the most you can have on a motor is 750 watt. You can't be any higher. And usually in most states, including this one, 20 mile an hour as fast as you can go on a bike trail, rather it be a regular bike or an e-bike. Now also, no motorized bike is allowed on a bike trail. Motorized could be a scooter, could be a go-kart, anything that's got a motor engine on it, that is not allowed on the bike trails. On your left. So when you go to purchase a bike, make sure that it's legal for your area to ride on a bike trail. Now, you're ever going to get stopped? Probably not, unless you're doing something reckless and stupid. So no, you're probably not going to get stopped. On your left. On your left. I just talked about a previous video, and I want to get off this a little bit. That I don't think women, just like the one we just passed, should be up here running and walking on these bike trails without somebody with them. It's just dangerous. So I'm going to leave that where it's at. Just a food for thought. Now also on a bike trail, you have to follow all regulations just like you're on a road with your bicycle or car. So all laws apply on a bike trail that applies on a road. And I see so much of guys riding e-bikes or any other bike that never stop at stop signs. On your left. If there's no cars coming, they go right through them. I'm going to stop up here a second. I'm going to change my battery, actually hook up a battery pack to my iPhone here. It's getting really low, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop here and get that out so I can change that over. I've got a little battery pack that I can plug into my phone here. As you can see here, it's made by Anker, A-N-K-E-R, and it makes a really good way to charge your battery when you're getting low. It'll do a full charge on a iPhone, so that's pretty good. But anyway, let me see if I can I'll have to take this phone out a little bit. I've got the thing turned on backwards here, so I'm going to have to take it off here to take my phone out so I can charge this. Bear with me a second. Turn my phone the way it should be, if it'll let me. So anyway, we're going to plug it in here, and then we'll be able to continue our ride here. Yeah, these battery packs are really nice to where you can plug them in where you're not going to have your phone go dead on you, shall I say. So let me go ahead and plug this thing in and put it in the basket here so we can keep on going on our ride here. Okay, that should get me home anyway. As soon as I put it back up here where I don't lose the battery pack. I think I'm gonna put it in my little basket here. I should have changed that out when I was back on the bike trail, but I didn't. So anyway, now we can continue our ride without our battery going dead. Because that battery pack actually is charging this as I'm riding, so that's really good. On your left. But my app will pick back up here. Might have lost my GPS through here a little bit. On your left. But yeah, getting back to bike safety on an e-bike, I highly recommend you, before you even think about riding a bike, whether it be a regular bike or an e-bike, that you go see your doctor first. Let him give you the okay to get out and ride. So a couple of things you want to remember when you're riding on the trail is when you pass somebody, you either want to ring your bell or your horn, whatever's on your bike, or if you don't have that, always holler in time to where they can hear you on your left or on your right. That way they're aware of you coming by them, because if you're riding by them on about 20 miles an hour, they really get mad if you don't announce that you're there, and I don't blame them. So those are some of the things that you really got to look at. For some reason, my Strava app don't want to pick back up on the satellite here. So I'm going to have to stop that up here and start it again, which I'm going to do. We'll just have 2 segments of the video. There we go. For some reason, the app is still not picking up the speed of the bike. There we go. Now it's showing 19 miles an hour. Took a minute to catch up. But you know, we got a stop sign coming right here, for instance. And I know 99% of the time there's nothing ever comes through here. I mean, if you look over here, you've got a dead end. And then if you look back here, There's nothing coming, of course, but I'm always stopping at these stop signs. It doesn't matter if cars are coming or not. That dog was well mannered. Told him to sit and he never moved. But other than that, when you're riding on trails, another thing you got to really look out for is kids. You know, they may be walking along with their parents. But whenever you say holler on your left, those kids will go that direction that you just hollered. It's just instinctive for them to do that. So you got to be really careful with little kids. And you got to watch animals too, because a lot of times people are letting animals run loose. Every dog in Ohio is supposed to be on a leash when you're on these bike trails, but that never happens. Now, for instance, she had the dog on a leash. But I had a pit bull chase me one day, and of course I was able to outrun him. I got up to about 20, 22 mile an hour, and he couldn't quite keep up with me. But there was a pit bull running loose up around Xenia Station where we first started, and that dog was going to bite me. He didn't like bikes or cars, I don't guess. So you got to be careful with dogs. You got to really watch animals coming across the trail. I mean, I ran over a squirrel one day. Fortunately, he got right back up and took off, but I ran right over top of him. Again, as I mentioned, keep your head on a swivel at all times. Don't be listening to music when you're riding. That's distractions. And always remember situational awareness. You just got to keep an eye on anything and everything when you're riding. Just because you're on a bike trail don't mean you're not exempt from getting hurt. Now, I typically ride the bike trails most of the time, but I'll get on the road quite a bit. And I ride downtown and city streets, but I'm really careful when I'm doing that. I was sitting at a crosswalk, and I'd already stopped videoing just prior to that, and I was just getting ready to cross this crosswalk, and I had the walk signal, and I hesitated, but as I looked to my left, there was a car speeding up, going through that stoplight. He would have probably been doing 40 to 45 mile an hour. He was speeding up, going through the intersection. That's after that had changed, at least for 2 to 3 seconds. He still ran it. If I would have crossed that intersection, he would have killed me. So that's some of the stuff you got to be real careful of. And that's why these stop signs on these bike trails are just as important to stop at. I mean, other than that, again, if you don't have bike trails, and a lot of you don't, we'll talk about road riding. Some of the stuff you got to really be careful with. Again, when you're riding on the road, you got to really look for, keep your head on a swivel, situational awareness. You got to be real careful, because these cars do not respect the bike. They really just don't care. And you've always, just like a car, you got to ride defensively. And if I'm riding along on a road, per se, and if I'm going to do that, I normally ride one of my bikes that's got a rear view camera on it, so I can see people coming up behind me. It doesn't help in every situation, but it helps a lot. But you know, if you're going to turn left or turn right you're on a bicycle, always use hand signals and arm signals when you make that turn. Don't just assume somebody thinks you're not going to turn, because then you're going to get hit. I mean, I'm just talking about this is really a combination road and trail right here. A lot of times cars will stop on one direction to let me go through, but they're not realizing there's vehicles coming from the other direction. So you got to really be careful as you're walking or crossing that intersection. Just for instance, the guy is stopping for me here, and the car coming the other way is not stopping, but he's still waiting on me, so I'm going to go ahead and cross. But just because he's stopping don't mean that other direction is stopping, and they're usually not. So be careful when you're out like that. And on a road, obviously, you got to wear, I would wear a helmet regardless if I'm on a trail or a road. You need to wear a helmet. It's dangerous if you don't. I see a lot of times where bicyclists get hit and killed on their bikes. You just got to remember, when you're out riding on a road, you got to be looking around you, and if you see a car coming up behind you, never expect him to be in that same lane, or he's going to do what you think he's going to do, because he'll probably do just the opposite, especially if he's on his phone or texting or whatever. Listen to loud music. In Ohio now, you can't even pick your phone up in a car. If they even see you swiping that phone in your car, you're going to get a ticket. I think that's a great law. It's got to stop these people on these phones where they're not paying attention to the road. I used to do the same thing, so I'm just as guilty. But now they made it a law, you can't do that here in Ohio. On your left. There's our food blessing box right there. Now see, there's a car coming up here, coming out of this parking lot. I'm still going to stop at this stop sign, even though he's obviously going slow enough. I'm going to come on through. But again, you want to stop at those things. Always have bright clothing on, especially when you're on the road. I don't care if it's bright green, orange, something where you can be noticed, people can see you. I even wear a construction smock that's really bright green, and I ride that a lot when I'm on the road. I just think it's very safe to do that. And my helmet that I have, it's got lights on the front and back where the lights are flashing. And if I'm gonna ride on the road, I'm certainly going to keep my bike lights on the front and back. Anywhere you can be noticed, you need to do that, because your chance of getting hit on a road is probably another 50% to 60% higher riding on the road than riding on a bike trail. So I'm very careful. And I see a lot of guys, even on the road, I'll watch them riding their bicycle with no hands, no helmet on, and that is just an accident waiting to happen. Just because they think it can't happen to them, they're the ones that are going to get hit. Just being careless. Yeah, just about 4 miles to go now. But again, riding a bike on a road, you got to follow them traffic laws just like the cars do. Now, most towns, especially in the urban downtown areas, And my city's got a really good bike lane network all the way through downtown and around downtown. You'll see bike lanes everywhere. And we're one of the few countries in the world that doesn't have that. We just don't have a network of bike lanes that we need to have. E-bikes are becoming increasingly popular, not only for the exercise, but commuting to work. And look at the fuel you're saving. You don't have to have a car that's guzzling up gasoline. You just got to recharge the battery when you get home. And again, I highly encourage that you buy an additional battery for riding, because you just never know when you're going to get out stuck somewhere and your battery's dead. And these bikes are not light to push. This bike's probably 90 pounds when I count the two batteries, which are 8 pounds apiece, and the bike itself weighs about 62 pounds. So yeah, you're between 80 and 90 pounds on that bike. So you don't want to have to push that thing home. On your left. Yeah, they do have the sign up there. I think it says May 1st. They're going to close this trail down. And there's your new trail. They even got a fence put up. I'm glad they did that. Makes it very much safer. And again, that's going to be closed for 275 days, which is a little better than 9 months. My battery charger got a little lower than I thought it was when I actually charged my camera the other day with this battery pack, and I forgot to charge it. I didn't forget about it, but I didn't have time to do it. So our phone app may go dead before I get up to the end of the trail. The camera will be fine. But I'm now down to about 20% on my battery. I may have enough to get back, but it's going to be close. I'm going to stop here and check to see if it may have come loose from my battery pack, and that could be why it's not charging. So bear with me just a second. Let me stop and see it, check that out. It may have come loose here. No, I believe it's probably just about dead. That's certainly what I'm thinking here. It don't seem to be charging on my phone here, so anyway, we're gonna try to make it home like it is. We got about another little less than 3 miles to go. And we're going to stop the video right up here. And if you got any questions about road riding or trail riding, bike trails, put them down in the comment section for me. If there's anything I forgot to discuss, put that down there for me. And we'll finish up the third segment of the video up here in a couple minutes after I stop this one. So anyway, we're going to stop up here. I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to finish up the video right here. Again, if you guys got any comments you want to put down in the comment section about anything we've talked about today, put it down there and I'll answer it. And share and like the video and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys on the next video.